quiet.
Welcome to the PowerTrip Podcast. We're your hosts,
Charmaine.
and Saquon.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
What's good, people? What's
Hey
good?
guys. We hope you guys are all doing good out there.
Staying safe.
Yes, definitely staying safe and just protecting yourself, staying healthy mentally and physically
Yes.
with everything going on. So last week we talked about joint bank accounts and our journey on starting a joint bank account together. This week, we're going to jump into talking about budgeting, how to budget, why is it important, and even go through a mock budget with you guys that we'll do later on in the podcast.
Just as we promised.
Exactly. So, baby cakes, would you like to start off with the importance of having a budget?
Okay. So one important thing about a budget is that, or I guess a benefit of a budget is it allows you to see the areas that you're able to save. You know, it opens you up to see your spending habits and where you're spending unnecessarily.
Yeah, that's very true. And to kind of piggyback off of what Saquon was saying is when you can see clearly like what your spending habits are, you know the exact amount of money that you're putting out and on expenses and what's coming in.
Which is another benefit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another benefit. But that way it allows you, like sometimes you get to the end of the month and you're like, what in the world? Like where'd all my money go? So with the budget, you're able to see like, okay, I spent this on this. Oh, I splurged on that a little bit. Or maybe an emergency or something came up in the beginning of the month that you didn't really think about when you're looking at the end of the month at your account.
Yeah.
So like Saquon said, it allows you to see your spending habits and make those adjustments as you start budgeting.
Yeah. So another benefit that kind of piggybacks off of the adjustments that you make, it allows you to accurately adjust, things according to your goals, according to your financial goals.
Yeah.
You're able to make accurate timelines knowing how much money is going in or how much money is being allocated towards that goal each week or each month, leading up to achieving the goal.
Right. And to add on to that important fact is like you can set a goal for yourself and know, like kind of what you said, how much money you need to put to the side to reach that goal.
Piggybacking.
Yes, piggyback. I like to piggyback. All right. So the next important fact about having a budget is that it keeps you from being financially overwhelmed. It keeps you from feeling the stress of the world on your shoulders in regards to your finances. So if you don't keep a budget, let's say you have the house bills, some people have children, so they have the child care bills and food, you have maybe debts you're paying off or car notes. So all of that can be overwhelming when you don't have it written out and you don't have a plan on how you're going to pay everything off. So when you have a budget, you're able to see it clearly and say, okay, I have the amount of money I need, or you can figure out maybe I need to increase my income because of the bills that I have. So I feel like that's very important. We both feel like that's a very important fact of having.
And you're more aware of things that are coming up.
Right.
Let's say those bills and things like that. When all of those bills may hit at the beginning of the month, you won't feel as overwhelmed with those bills hitting at the beginning of the month because you expect them.
Exactly.
You expect them to come.
And you budgeted for them.
Exactly. So you already know how much money you're going to have after all of that's done. You're not even looking at, I guess you're looking at the check, but you're not banking on that whole amount that's there.
Right. You're not trying. And I think another to add on to that is like this can help you not live paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
Because when you're budgeting, like my baby was saying, it's like you can pre-plan, you can set up your goals, and this allows you to be able to save, and you can do, and we'll go over different types of budgets next, but it allows you to say, okay, I'm going to take a little bit each month from my checks to save for this big bill that's coming.
Yeah, and I believe that it can feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck depending on how strict you are with your goals. If your check isn't at, so big.
Right. And then that may alert you to say, hey, I need to increase my income and what things can
Exactly.
I do to do that? That's
Exactly.
true. Mm-hmm.
And another benefit of a budget is, I guess, when you break it down and you have all of those categories, you always have an emergency fund.
Right.
So it always helps prepare you for any emergencies, hopefully, that you may have in the future. And it's not like it'll hurt your pocket or you have to run to a credit card.
Right. And go into debt, more debt.
Exactly. To
Trying to get
handle
out
the
of emergency. Mm-hmm.
So those are some important benefits of a budget. And with your income being different, or some people having different ideals of how they want to go about saving and spending, there's many different methods to
budgeting.
Exactly. So, Bugs, you want to give them a
Alrighty. Yeah. So the first method we'll discuss is the 50-30-20 budget. So this method, what you would do is you set all your monthly spending into 3 categories. So all of your needs, the things that you have to pay every month, your electricity, your utilities, you have to pay for food and for transportation, insurances, things that are must. That is going to be 50% of your income that you're going to utilize for those needs, to cover those needs. The next is 30%, and these are for your wants. So this is things like a gym membership or I don't want to say like massage, facials, but things like that, because also within your budget, you do have to have some room for things that you enjoy. So you want to be pretty strict when you're trying to reach your goals, but you can't be so strict that you have nothing that you enjoy in your life, because I think that's a way to help. That's a way that will push you into not sticking to your budget.
Correct.
Or that's a way that'll lead you to unhappiness. And it shouldn't be an unhappy process when you're working your way to financial independence or to whatever your goal may be.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
And then the last 20%, you're going to divvy up for savings and for your retirement goals, and then for also paying off your debts. So that's pretty self-explanatory. So with this type of budget, with all of the budgets actually, you would get your income, and then from there you can say, okay, if I make, let's say, $4,000 a month, what is 50% of that? So that's $2,000, and your needs should be able to fit into that category. Same with the 30% and the 20%. So this is not really the best budget for us. So this is not the budget that we use. I feel like, we both felt like with this type of budget, it's a little bit harder to tackle your debt when you're only setting aside 20% for debt, retirement, and savings.
Yeah.
And you have 30% to your wants. So for us, it would definitely not look like that.
Yeah.
So we're just giving you options. And we do believe that depending on your income level, some of these budget ideas would be best for certain people. So it's just going to be finding out what's best for you and then seeing what you like best based off of your lifestyle.
Yeah, depending on your debt, 20% going towards your debt might not necessarily do it.
Yeah. All right. So the next one, hun, you want to handle that?
The next method of budgeting would be the 60% solution. So this method says to put 60% of your income towards committed expenses. And that would be the thing that you need, or any essential, any non-essentials that you actually committed to.
Okay.
Right?
So like the gym membership, would it be included in that?
Correct. Okay. Correct. And your bills and things like that. And the rest of your income, you divide into 4 categories. And it would be your retirement, which 10% goes to. 10% goes to short-term irregular expenses. And those things would be like vacations, if I'm correct. And you have 10% that goes to long-term savings. And then your other 10% goes to fun. And the long-term savings, I guess, could be anything like a house or a car or possibly an emergency fund.
Stocks as well.
Correct. So that is the 60% solution. And for us, I don't really necessarily like it. I think 10% going towards small things like retirement or your irregular expenses. I think it kind of it takes a while to reach your goals.
You mean it would take longer by only putting 10% of your income in there?
Correct.
Gotcha.
That's a small amount to take of your income to put towards those types of goals. Also, I feel as if that 10% fund should possibly be in your short-term savings for your irregular expenses.
Okay, I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
I can kind of see it. I mean, short-term savings for regular expenses, I think that's also kind of like, well, yeah, I feel like there's just blurred lines between what you can consider what. Because 10% for short-term, savings of regular expenses could be like let's say your car, like an emergency, like you said, like if you need new brakes or something like that.
Yeah, so, and I guess that's not necessarily fun.
Yeah. So, but I do feel like it still kind of blurs the lines a little bit. Yeah. And it's not as defined. Like this would be, I feel like, for someone maybe who has a very large income and they can do that because 10% is a good amount of money. So they know that they're covered. Again, this is not one that we decided we wanted to follow. So the third type of budget that we're going to discuss today is a reverse budgeting method. So with this method, you start by starting with your savings, and then you tackle spending. So basically what you want to do first is you put money aside to save and to invest. And then after that, and then, thanks, hon. But then after that, you budget for essentials like housing, utilities, transportation, and food, and insurance, and debt. And then you cover the non-essentials and fun. So basically, this is like a quote-unquote anti-debt method, which we are all about, no debt. But we're also about taking down and getting out of debt before we build up too much of a savings. So our goal is we don't want to owe anybody anything. And that is what we are pushing hard to crush. We are putting money to the side as well, but most of it is going towards getting rid of our debt.
That's true.
And so debt-free is like being debt-free, and our goal is financial independence. So being debt-free is something that is so huge for us. And when you are debt-free, the sky is the limit. Like there's so many different things that you can do without having to worry about paying off somebody else. So for us, student loans is something that, we have to pay on.
Correct.
And that payment that we were paying to Sally Mae or Great Lakes, whoever, that could be going towards something else. So getting rid of that debt is something that we have as a high priority. So this one is good, I feel like, if you don't have debt, because then it helps you with, okay, I want to make sure that I save X amount. I want to make sure my kids' college fund is good. I want to make sure I'm investing or have an IRA. Like there's just different things that you could set yourself up with, and that would be great. But if you have debt, I don't think that should be something that's kind of put to the side as a less than importance over savings.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Nope.
All right. So, needless to say, we did not go with this method.
Exactly.
But numero 4, the method we did choose to utilize
would be the zero-based budget method.
Yes.
Which she loves.
I do.
She actually picked it out. So, simply put, the zero-based budgeting method is when all your income minus the expenses equals 0. Needless to say, every month you should know that you have 0 within your budget. If you make $5,000 a month as your income, then you should know where that $5,000 goes at each month.
Every dollar is accounted for.
Yeah, every dollar is accounted for. Every dollar has a job.
Yes.
Every dollar goes to a specific category.
Yeah.
Literally every dollar.
Every dollar.
Even
every cent.
Even if the category that is at the end is allowance.
Right.
It all goes to zero at the end.
Yeah.
You'll take out your bills, you'll take out your savings, you'll take out your life insurances, whatever it is that you need. And you after that can break down, I guess, the percentages that you want to allocate towards certain savings and certain goals that you have. And then give yourself the rest, the remainder.
Yeah. And I really love this form of budgeting because I feel like this just puts you in control of your money. Like, every dollar, like you're making your money work for you.
Correct.
Every dollar, like he said, has a job. It has a category that it's under, even if it is an allowance for ourselves to have the fun that we want. So I feel like this method is the best method because it works. I feel like it can work for anyone, no matter what economic, I guess, what financial state you're in. It can work for you because you can look at it and it's going to look different for everybody. Everyone's rent isn't the same. People have car notes, some people don't. Some people have no debt, some people do. But with this method, you can assign every dollar to what you need to utilize it for. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about what?
So, all right. We went over the types of budgets. What we're going to go into now are some of the things that you should know about your personal income or expenses before you create your budget.
Okay.
Let's say the one thing would be your savings goals. For instance, let's say you may want to have a down payment on a house or a down payment on a car or emergency savings. Anything as a savings goal, you know that you want that. So you know that you will have to have a category for your savings goals.
Exactly.
What's another one?
Another thing you want to know before creating a budget is what are your irregular expenses or big purchases that you know are coming up. So sometimes when you create a budget, a lot of times you sit down and you write your monthly expenses. But a lot of times we have expenses that occur once a year, annually or quarterly. So those irregular expenses, you want to make sure you don't forget about that when you're about to create your budget.
And since you mentioned it, pay attention if you have quarterly or annual expenses.
Right.
Because they could creep up on you.
Yeah.
And basically what you'll have to do is try to figure, divvy that up to find out how much that you're going to have to put aside each week or month or whatever, however many times you get your check, you'll have to figure out how to break that down to budget for that.
Yes.
Man, some other categories that you might need to know about will possibly be your rent. So for your household bills.
Right. So no, I was just going to say, so basically another important thing is knowing what categories you want to budget for.
Well, yeah.
And that's where he was kind of going with that.
So knowing what categories you have to budget for. And like she mentioned before, everybody's budget may be different.
Right.
So let's say if you're a teenager at home and you're just interested in budgeting and you're watching this video right now, you might not have rent as a budget.
Right.
Lucky you.
Lucky you.
Or utilities.
Right. So certain things wouldn't end up on your budget, but it's still a good idea for you to budget with the money that you get in, because this can set you up for success in your future, especially right now if you have no debt, if you have no bills to pay. This is the prime time. Like if I knew now if I knew then what I know now, listen to me. Big difference. But I'm grateful that, we are where we are now. We do have the understanding and the knowledge that we have now. So it's never too late to start. And so like you were saying, it can look different for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some other categories would be transportation, insurance, registration, food, health and fitness. Her favorite one, charity.
Give back. And also in the beginning, so when you have like a lot of debt, or let's say you are living paycheck to paycheck and it's a struggle, you don't have to give, 10% right away. Give what you can. In my opinion, I feel like what you put out, you get back. And a lot of people, are in need. And possibly you don't necessarily have to give monetarily. You can give by giving your time if you're able to do so. But I don't want it to feel like, I do love charity. I do love giving back. But I don't want it to feel like, you feel guilty or less than if you can't. Because it's, what your goals are, and what you're working towards. So if you can only give a little bit, then you do that. If you're tithing in church, then you do that. That's your giving.
But and I don't even say a little bit, and sorry for cutting you off. I wouldn't even say a little bit. I just really look at it like, just give what you can.
Right.
Because like you say, you kind of get what you give. And sometimes that other person probably can give a lot, and they're not going to give you a little, if that makes sense.
In return. And that's a good point. It's not what a little bit may be to us, may be a lot to someone else.
Exactly.
who's in a worse circumstance. So that's very true.
So
be intentional with your words.
I mean, they powerful. So
they are very
like
cute.
I'm just saying. But just give what you can. Make sure you have a category for that. Make sure you have a category for the entertainment in your life. I think we already covered it, but make sure you have that category for the debt, obviously, so that you can tackle that, get your credit up, make sure that you reach financial independence.
Yes. So we'll probably go through the rest of the budgets when we create our mock budget.
Yeah, we will.
Not to cut you off.
It's all right. It's all right. But it can be overwhelming. It can be a lot of categories that you actually have to go through.
Yeah, so we'll go through some of that. And we kind of already, Honey already talked about, when you have the regular expenses, that you do want to make sure you're putting some money away for them each month so that it's not overwhelming when that big bill hits. All right, so now we are going to discuss some tools that can help you budget. So, number
one would be a calendar. The calendar comes in handy, especially for some of those irregular expenses like quarterly and annually expenses that you may have.
Right. You can put your due dates.
Yeah. The calendar allows you to be able to, yes, you can put due dates. So you're aware.
Right.
But it also allows you to be aware of how many days ahead of a bill that you are. And when you do that, you're able to simply divide the amount of days maybe that you work or whatever it may be that you need to make sure that bill is paid. So that goes into that. But some people may not need a calendar. There are a lot of apps out there that you're able to input these goals that you have, and it already divides everything down for you. But that would be a free and easy way. And I personally believe that it helps you become more aware of your income and your expenses. You know more of what's going on.
Because you're consciously writing and adding and dividing.
Correct.
Yeah. So you're more active in that process rather than when you use an app, which I'm not against. So another tool that you can utilize to help you budget are money envelopes. So sometimes when you're swiping your card and when you're out and about, it's easy to go over your budget because it's just on your card and you're like, oh, it's okay. It's just a few dollars over. But when you have money envelopes, you have the exact amount that you set aside for that month in that envelope. So that way it's like, okay, listen, this was um, my restaurant fund, and it's empty. So no more restaurants for the rest of the month.
No, so I can do.
Exactly. So this helps you stick to your goals if you have difficulty just mentally kind of sticking to it, especially if budgeting is new for you. You can utilize money envelopes to kind of help you stay stricter with sticking to your goals.
Yeah. And we kind of got into it, but other tools would be apps.
Yeah.
A popular app that I know of and I used early on, and Manny here has jumped on it and kind of took it over. But it's Mint. Mint is very good for budgeting.
Yeah.
So it helps you categorize a lot of your expenses as well as your income, and you're able to visualize your spending habits, and find out those spots where you're able to save. What I like about it is you're able to, I mean, it kind of does it itself, but even if it's off, you're able to link your bank account to the app, and it basically gets all of your charges, and it categorizes them as such as what it thinks it is, what it assumes it to be. And it kind of self-explanatory, right? It kind of does it itself.
Yeah, so I really love Mint app as well, because it's not off as far as your transactions go. Sometimes it assumes that a transaction is for a certain category that it's not.
Yeah, that's
but
all.
You can always go back in and change the category. You can also say if the category is tax related, so that at the end of the year, you just click on all the tax related things and they pop up. You can see if it's like vacation, like you can put tags on your different expenses. And also you can, if they had the category wrong, when you see that and you change it, you can click to make sure that it knows that this merchant is for this category.
In case you go to that merchant again. So.
Exactly. And then also what I really like about it is it shows you the percentages of your spending habits. So it'll show you like a pie graph on how much, like what's your biggest spendings. And also it shows you if your cash flow is positive or negative for the month, which is really nice too, because you always want to be in the green. And so when you see yourself going into the red, that means you're spending more than you're bringing in. And this can be a reality check too, where it's like, I'm spending a little bit too much. Maybe I need to find areas where I can cut back.
Yeah, and it'll show you those areas where you hit red though.
Yes.
It will definitely show you those areas where you probably spent too much and where you need to cut back on, or where you may have expected to stay under the budget. And
it'll alert you when you go over budget.
Yep.
And another nice thing is you can connect, like you were saying, your bank accounts, but also you can connect your investment accounts as well as your student loan accounts. And also you can put like assets like houses and cars and things as well, all on there, so you can see your net worth as also visually. So that's why I really, really love this app. The only downfall I would say is it is an app. So if you have fears of having all your business on an app, that would be, I guess, the only downfall.
Yeah.
The next app that I've utilized is called Every Dollar. And this is Dave Ramsey's app that he promotes through his Financial Peace University. And this is a really nice app because I really like this. It's similar to Mint, where you can, connect all your bank accounts, connect your student loans, and then also you categorize for everything. And then what I like about this is it tells you the percent of each category. So once you put in your income and then you break everything down into categories, it'll tell you, okay, so for your home expenses, this is the percent of your budget. Okay. So it does it for you. I mean, you can do it yourself, but it's always nice to have a visual. So that's really nice. And then for both of the apps, what they also do is, so for category, for example, like shopping or clothing, you can set aside, let's say $50 a month, but you may not utilize $50 each month. So they have where you can put that the money that you don't spend rolls over. So they let you know that, okay, if you didn't spend this much, next month you have $80 towards your clothing because you didn't spend it. So it's still there for you because you know where every dollar is going.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's pretty cool.
It is, isn't it?
So wait, so does it will be up to you to move that rollover to maybe your savings or something like that?
Well, it would just be sitting in your account.
Okay.
Because you didn't spend it, so it would just be sitting there. And then with the rollover, you could decide, hey, I have some extra money here. Instead of rolling it over into next month, I want to throw that at my debt because it's excess. So again, it's like it helps you with your goals and even accomplish your goals even quicker.
Yeah.
So those are the biggest tools that we've utilized. Well, we haven't utilized the money envelopes, but we have utilized the apps and even like the calendar, just kind of knowing when things are coming up. I haven't really done the math part of it. I like the apps. So next we are going to go into how to create a budget and do a mock budget for you guys. And
before we get into the mock budget, make sure you guys subscribe and like this video and share. And please comment if you have any other questions. And follow us on Instagram at the PowerTrip Podcast. I almost wanted to say .com, but follow us at the PowerTrip Podcast and make sure that you check us out on Spotify and Apple and Buzzsprout to check out all of our episodes of
if you want just the audio version.
Correct.
So as you're driving, when it's on your way to work or something, you can just go to that. And then also we are going to put a link to the joint bank account episode that we did so that you guys can see that. It'll be in the description below, and also we'll put a card up top. And then also what I want to tell you about SoFi. So for those of you guys who saw our last episode, we talked about the different bank accounts that we were looking at when we were starting a joint account. SoFi is thebomb.com. Okay, we got our cards, my hun. We used that. We did our first purchase in our joint account. And it was so nice because when we went to the app, you could see who swiped their card. Like it told you, okay, say this is Saquon's purchase. And even though it's like with our budget, it's ours, like it's our money, but it just tells you who spent this. So someone speaks and goes over budget, I'm like, listen, hun. I seen it.
But it also lets you know immediately how much you get for cash back from your transaction. I thought that was really cool as well.
Right, it was automatic that they gave us the cash back as well from the purchase. And they also have it where they can track your spending, and you can also kind of budget within the app. I don't know if it's on the actual app, but on their website, you can track that and budget too.
You know it's good when all you got is ands to just keep going. We don't really have any negatives about them. So so far so good.
Right, and we haven't used our Discover card yet, so we'll keep you posted with that. But anyway, let's get into the mock budget.
All right.
So we're gonna pull up a shared screen so that you guys can see what we're doing.
And people. So let's get started on our mock budget. We created a little budget. We already inputted some numbers for you guys, and we're just going to go over it to show a general overview of what a budget may look like to get to with the zero-based method. So if you can see, take a look at the budget, and it starts off with your income. And we just picked a random amount of $70,000 per year for both of us combined. Breaking that down into each month, and that $70,000 will be after taxes. So breaking that down into each month, that will give you $5,833 per month. That's how much you will have to take care of your bills and everything going on forward from there.
So then next, after you know the income that you have, you start with your categories. So of course, you want to start with the four most important categories, which is your home, your utilities, your food, and your transportation. So this is a very general budget, the way we did it, just for teaching purposes. But under like home and utilities, for example, you would break down the subcategories So the 1365 would include your rent, your internet, your water, trash, and sewer, your electricity bill, and that would all be broken down. So each category would have a specific amount. For this purpose, we're just kind of doing the grand total.
Yeah.
So that's what you would have for home and utilities. Under food, you would have your groceries, and then you would also have a subcategory for like eating out. If you want to go to restaurants and stuff, give yourself a budget for that as well. You want to do the next two?
You'd have transportation. Transportation would be you may have a car note. You pay for gas every month. You have your car registration. You have your car insurance. Some may pay their car insurance every 6 months. Your car registration is every year. So you have to break those things down. And like you said, those would be like subcategories under car so that you know how much money that you need to allocate towards those categories each bi-weekly or monthly. Another category would be health. Health for some people could be, let's say, eye care. I have contacts, so I buy my contacts. Some could be the health insurance may be coming out of their check.
Right, so you would include that.
Yeah, it may be coming out of your check, or some people may, if they're contracted workers, they may pay for the insurance. So that's a category that you may have to put under your health. Is there any other category that may have to go under health?
Yeah, you can also put medications or supplementation purchases that you would make. Those could be subcategories, as well as your gym membership could go under health as well.
Yeah, and by the way, since I didn't go over it, for transportation on the budget here, we have that for $375. $375 should cover your gas and all of those things. And we didn't say the food. The food will also be $700. So
I did go over food.
You said the total though?
Yeah. Oh.
I'm not sure if you said the total, but that's why I said it.
Okay.
And for health, the category we just went over, we have $75 for that.
And you can, with these categories like health or like going to restaurants, you can do the rollover with that. So if you're not spending any of that money, it can be, used for the next month where you can spend a little more, or you could take that excess and throw it towards your debt.
Exactly. Find a threshold for yourself,
right?
Where you can say for yourself, all right, well, for my health category and with SoFi, let's say for your vault, for your health vault, you know that the maximum amount of money that you want in that vault may be $750 to $1,000. After it hits that max, anything roll over after that, you can throw towards that, like she said. So another category would be personal care. Personal care would be things like pads or tampons for the ladies, lotions, soaps, deodorant,
toothpaste, toothbrushes.
Yes,
personal care
brush heads, anything. Personal care items, the thing that you need in the bathroom, wipes for the babies, wipes for the adults. Depends if you need them. But no, personal care items. We have that category for $50. What are some other categories that we have?
If you have a pet, like we have our baby Kai, you also want to budget for them. So they have dog food that you pay. If you have an insurance plan for your dog, you would put that under there. You also want to account for grooming. If you go and get your dog professionally groomed, you want to account for all of those things. So you put the subcategories.
The spoiling.
Yes, treats, toys, all of that. So we put $50 aside each month for that on this budget as well. And then another category we have is shopping. So we have $100 set aside for that. And under shopping, it's a little bit more broad. So you can buy clothing with this category. And under shopping, you would do the subcategories. So you can do clothing, you can do entertainment. So if you go to the movies, things like that, you can just put that under this category.
Yeah. And it's 100 for us because we don't do that much shopping or too. Well, we go out for entertainment here and there.
Yeah.
But so we just kept it low for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we put that at $100.
Right.
So after those expenses, it brings the total to $2,715. That leaves you with $3,118.
Mm-hmm. To allocate to these next categories that we have.
Yeah, so the expenses are not finished.
Yes. So because the goal here is to get down to $0. So, okay. So the next category we have is debt. Debt is huge. Like we said, we're trying to attack the beast. Okay. We're trying to get rid of debt as quick as we can. So $2,068.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is allocated towards the debt.
Yeah, but we came about that number, I guess, in a reverse way.
Yes, let me try.
Yeah, so we came about the number in a reverse way, and we started with savings. We thought about some things that we wanted to save for, and whether it was trips or emergency savings and things like that. And each month, we decided that we would put $750 of our monthly income towards savings.
Right, and like he said, it goes for emergency funds. So with your emergency fund, just starting off, you can at least make sure you have $1,000 sitting there. The true goal of emergency fund is to at least have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses saved that you're not touching. And I know it could be tempting because if you think about it, once you create your budget, you see how much you're spending each month. So let's say it's $4,000. If you have 3 months of that saved, that's $12,000 that you have just sitting there. Granted, you can put it in a savings account so it's earning interest as well. But it could be tempting to say, man, I have $12,000 sitting here. I can use this for some things.
And remember, you got to remember, the goal is financial independence.
Exactly.
And that's what that is. Having that money sitting there for months without being able to touch it is having financial freedom. What were you saying?
Oh, okay.
A piece of having financial freedom.
Yeah. Poor, I was really interrupted. I was just going to say, it gives you peace of mind. And like you said, it is a part of financial independence and financial freedom because, God forbid, you lose your job. You have 3 months or 6 months of your expenses saved for, so you're not stressing. You know, I can pay all my bills. I can pay all my expenses that I have are covered because I did my due diligence and I put money aside for that. Or another example could be having a baby.
Correct.
Let's say, the maternity and paternity leave isn't necessarily the best with certain companies. So, or if you're an independent contractor, so this allows you to have that time to be able to stay home and not be stuck having to go back to work because it's a need because you don't have the money.
Yeah, and if it's your choice to say that you want to be home longer than that leave
amount of time, right? Exactly.
You can walk away if you have a certain amount of money saved up to be with your family.
Yes, and then also, like you said, with savings, if you have a trip or something that you have a plan to do, you can just put that in there as a subcategory. Yeah. So savings was the first thing we did, and then we did our allowance.
Yeah.
So if you watched our joint bank account video, we talked about how everything goes into the joint bank account, and then we do have personal accounts, but we just pay ourselves an allowance. And that's just free money that we can use on whatever we want.
Yeah.
Literally. So we allocated $150 a person, so $300 total of our budget would go to our allowance.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, that would be strict. And I get the goal. The goal is to crunch the debt though. So like she said, that's how we came to 300 is putting 150 per person.
You said that's strict?
I mean, to me, so to me, that's where we're different at.
Yeah.
Is for some reason I like to have room to spend. But I get the strictness to the budget and being able to tackle the debt to eventually get to financial freedom. And it actually feels good when you tackle it. So I'm all for it. I mean, I would have added like 100 or 200 on, but hey, it's whatever.
He's the spender, I'm the saver.
Exactly. But like she said, that comes to $300 for the allowance, and then that will leave us with $2,068 for the debt.
To crush your debt. And like we mentioned earlier, if you have excess money that you didn't utilize, you can throw that at your debt as well. You can throw that at your savings, whatever is kind of priority to you, that whatever extra money that you had kind of rolled over, you can either let it stay in that category or you can make sure it's through the debt.
Yeah.
But adding all of those together, the grand total at the end is $0. And that's the important thing, is you do have a goal for each dollar amount. So it's not like there's just extra money sitting there that you don't have a goal for. And even like we said, with the excess money, you still have a goal for that. So whether you want it to stay in that category for the next month, because let's say there's a concert coming up. So for your entertainment category, let's say you haven't been going to the movies or going anywhere, and now it's rolled over for 3 months.
You're about to have a good time.
Exactly. You can go to the concert and enjoy yourself without concert, stress.
Yeah, your concert could be in another state over if you just had it just saved up for a while, you know. It depends on your lifestyle, you know.
Yeah. So that is a very general example, but we hope it was helpful for you guys just to kind of see, like, okay, this is how you break things down. First, you want to know your income. The next thing is you want to know the consistent monthly expenses that you do have. Then you also want to calculate your irregular annual or quarterly expenses and divide those so that you are aware of how much money you need to put aside each month. You want to have your saving goals and also know your debt.
Yep.
So we hope this was so helpful for you guys. And if you guys have any other questions, or if you have any other ways that you budget, we'd love to hear that in the comments.
Hit the comments
below. Yes. Anything else you want to say, Dan?
Once again, subscribe, like, share the video, follow us, get in contact with us. We'd like to grow with you guys as well. Like we said, if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them. And follow us on Instagram at the PowerTrip Podcast, and listen to us on Spotify and Apple and
pretty much all streaming services. You can look us up at the PowerTrip Podcast if you want to listen to the audio version. And then also, if you have any power trips that you want to send us, you can send them anonymously, or you can say who you are, and we'd be happy to answer your email and go over our opinions on it. You can email us at thepowertrippodcast@gmail.com.
And join us Thursday for our live. Tune in, be part of the family, and have fun with us.
Yep. All right, guys. Until next time, we are out.
Peace.
Peace.